Or can you work with the government to help?
What do you mean, work with the government?
To help, because you seem to have knowledge about financial liberation, what they should do, and talking about it doesn't seem to change anything.
Oh my God. It's like saying, can you work with vampires to protect the blood bank? That's not how it works. They have absolutely no interest in helping anybody. I don't think you people really understand what we are dealing with. They have no interest whatsoever in helping. They have every interest in impoverishing. Okay? They believe that poor people are easier to govern, and you know, it's a lot more difficult for poor people to get involved in politics, and they would rather they don't. So the agenda to impoverish people is so strong on Museveni's agenda. As an individual, I'm not talking about generally system. The president himself, that is at the heart of everything he does, to impoverish people. Now, how can I, who wants to empower people economically, work with somebody who is working to disempower them? Okay, it doesn't work like that. That's why I can't work with him, because he's pointing this way, I'm pointing this way. Okay, so but there's nothing to work with. He's achieving his goals. Okay, most recently now using COVID to create a what I call a caste system. I don't know if the word is caste or chest. No, it's actually caste is the word. System where there is, you know, one group, then the other group, then the other group. You understand? And it's a very powerful tool for political manipulation, creating a caste system. Now, that's why some people are going to school, others are on Zoom, others are nowhere. Okay? That's why the education system has been systematically dismantled, okay, over the period of time. Now look at somebody who is finishing P7, who has sat for P7. When I sat for P7 in 1984, I could read books of this volume. I mean, I would read. Now look at the people who are coming out of P7. Is it their fault? No, it isn't. It is the fault of this government, which has systematically diluted the level of education.
What could be the problem, Mr. Kabuleta? Because we've seen COVID come, and how could they possibly do this?
What do you mean, how could they do it?
Because schools are closed because there are threats of COVID-19 infecting, because we are having the second lockdown that is actually being lifted. And schools were closed, I think now 2 years, because of COVID-19. The kids could die, the parents, you see what is happening. So how could they do it?
I was trying to explain to you something. So when because it hasn't only started. COVID was just like the final step they took, like something which they needed to finally, go for the final coup. It started with all the diluting of education throughout the country. Now, UP was a very good idea and a very good thing, but it has systematically over the period of time diluted, demoralized teachers, made schools just basically go by. The rate of dropping out, now we're almost at 70% of people who start P1 and never finish P7. And that was not the case, by the way, previously. So now, while we might celebrate those who joined school because there is this UPE, but very few of them finish, only 30% finish P7. And now, without finishing P7, you've not even acquired enough literary skills to help you ahead. So basically almost illiterate without at least P7. Now, even those who are finishing P7, what's the level of education that they have? Real learning. What can they do in comparison to what they could do before? Now, those are the issues. So now, and it has been systematic going down. Now, when COVID came, it was an opportunity. Okay? If you've been trying to impoverish people for 30 years, COVID is the perfect opportunity to now kill the entire middle class in the name of preventing COVID, kill the entire education in the name of preventing COVID, and do everything you've willed to do, create a police state, create fear and panic in the name of COVID. I'll tell you this, schools in Kenya, Kenya has more COVID deaths than Uganda and more COVID positive cases than Uganda. Schools started in January and are going on, January 2021, and are ongoing. What is so special about Ugandan schools that we are the ones who are infecting? Is COVID a Ugandan problem?
So what could be the motive?
Kenya, I've just told you the motive. Kenya schools are open. Tanzania, they never closed. Rwanda, they are open. Burundi, they are open. Uganda, we are still waiting for a man and his wife to sit down over dinner table and decide when to open schools. The motive is to create a caste system where there are these illiterate people. They are supposed to be servants. They are supposed to serve the ruling class. Then there is a shrinking middle class, which the ruling class need for purposes of, you know, their expertise in different areas, which middle class has shrunk seriously already. Then there are the rulers. So now, COVID has helped Museveni create the perfect caste system that he has always wanted to create. And now it was a dream for him. It was a dream for him. I have not seen somebody, he's not going to let it go, I can assure you of that. We are going to be sitting here and watching every other country going about their business while Uganda is still in COVID, because we have a president who has waited for such an opportunity where he can pretend that destroying people's lives is for their own good or for their, to save their lives. Tanzania woke up from some kind of slumber and they got good leadership about 6 years ago. Now, I was looking, the balance of trade between Tanzania and Kenya is actually positive for Tanzania. Tanzania sells more goods to Kenya than Kenya sells to Tanzania. Okay? Tanzania is positive, about $24 million. Now, do you know what the balance of trade between Uganda and Kenya is? It's about negative $1 billion. In other words, we just get everything from them. We hardly sell anything there. Okay? So we are just bystanders as the economies of the countries around us are growing, including Rwanda. Okay? Now, how long are we going to be deceived that COVID is this big thing for which countries which have lost more people than us are open, fully
Mr.
open?
Joseph, what is our ultimate solution
to this?
What are we looking at? Yes.
Getting rid of this leadership. There is no such thing as retiring. There's not going to be any retiring from the president. Okay? There is, I'm not telling them to do that. But I'm telling them that there are things we can do in the meantime. Because, of course, we know that he has filled the whole place with all this military and fear and so on. And there's lack of self-expression, and, you know, there's, if you cross a certain line, then, you know, certain forces come for you and so on. So there's fear among Ugandans, and there's a limit to what they are going to do. And in as much as we can call them to rise up, we know what is feasible and what is not, okay? But in the meantime, there are so many things that can be done as we prepare for that moment, okay? Because we are not the only country that has been ruled for 30-something years by a dictator who seemed invincible. But when they seem invincible is actually when they are their weakest. Remember what happened to Mobutu? 30 how many years? 32, 33 years. And people have given up. They have just decided to. Then 1 minute they wake up and Mobutu is no more. But then Zaire is not ready for life after Mobutu. Now we have to start as a nation being ready for life after Museveni and making sure that his plans of succession do not happen. Okay? Because he has a plan. And while he's closing everybody out from the political space, he's actually building something down underground, which is just about to blow up in people's faces. And now if they it finds them not ready because they have not been preparing themselves, then actually, in as much as it's going to be the most unpopular thing, it might take place because you are not counter-organizing. So we can organize. And the organization doesn't say that we are going to let him rule for life. But then the thing is, that if he rules for life, how old is he? Okay? But we don't, I mean, if something happens before that, I mean, Mugabe was supposed to rule for life, wasn't he? But then something happened and he was out before he died. Okay, he died just shortly after. But then, so there are things which happen. And we have to be ready for life after Museveni. The question is not whether he's going to go. He's going to go one way or the other. The question is, are we as Ugandans ready now to pick up the pieces of this total...
See you next time.
A powerful sit down there with former presidential candidate Joseph Kabuleta. We do move on. Christians today flocked different places of worship after a long period of time. The turnout